Hello everyone and welcome to Anchorage Airport in Alaska. After flying the milk run up from Seattle the day before, it was now time to head even further north, as in today's video we are going to be heading up to Barrow, the northernmost town in the United States. But before that, I still had quite a few hours to kill here in Anchorage. Anchorage Airport serves 6 million passengers each year. However, what makes the airport very busy is cargo. So much cargo passes through here that in the 2020 pandemic, Anchorage briefly became the busiest airport in the world due to the lack of any passenger travel. In fact, it's one of the last airports you can reliably see a Boeing 747, as these giants slowly get harder to find. The majority of people visiting Alaska will arrive here at Anchorage Airport, making it the gateway to Alaska, and it really excels at showing that off, with the airport decorated beautifully. A few decades ago, Anchorage Airport used to see fairly heavy international passenger service, with aircraft stopping for fuel on their way from Europe to Asia or vice versa. Today, the only international passenger airline here at Anchorage is Condor, operating summer seasonal service to Frankfurt in Germany, and this was recorded back when Condor still had the 767-300s in service. These have since been retired and replaced with the new A330-900s. But soon my aircraft landed and pulled into the gate, being November 570 Alpha Sierra, an Alaska Airlines Boeing 737-800 built in 2007 and painted into the Honoring Those Who Serve livery. Once on board, I found my seats and we began our taxi out to runway 33. Our flight today takes us directly north over the largest state in the US, and since recording this video, Alaska have added a second daily flight to Barrow on board the Embraer E175, but this flight I am on was the only daily passenger service in and out of the airport. With no roads leading anywhere and the ocean frozen over for half the year, this one Boeing 737 connects these people with the world, and due to bad weather, it can be a common occurrence for these flights to turn back to Anchorage after flying all the way up to Barrow. But not before long, the cabin crew came around the cabin with some snacks and a beverage of your choice. After flying the 737 MAX 9 the day before, I could really see the difference between these older NG 737s and the newer MAX 737s. But soon we began our descent into Barrow, and today would be landing on runway 8. Stepping outside our aircraft, it was nice to get an up-close look at this amazing paint job. And after we watched our aircraft take off back to Anchorage, we were officially stuck here on top of the world for 24 hours. So this is the airport, and leaving the airport, I was like, okay, I gotta find my hotel now. I was wondering where it could be, and it's literally there. That there is my hotel. It's that close. So yeah, this is our hotel for the night, the King Elders Inn. It opened in 1998 and is literally a stone's throw away from the airport, so there's no chance of missing our flight. And it was pretty cool signing the visitor's book and finding someone who had stayed here the month prior from my city, Portsmouth in the UK. But now for a bit of history. Barrow, or Utqiagvik as it's also known, is the northernmost town in the United States, and it's believed that natives, called the EQUIPTMENT, have been living here since at least 500 AD. The natives survived for hundreds of years in this harsh environment, surviving off a diet of fish, caribou, seal, walrus, whale, and even polar bear. The first Europeans to set foot here were the British in 1826 when a Royal Navy ship, the HMS Blossom, was conducting an Arctic exploration mission. It was then when the site received the name Barrow, named after Sir John Barrow, the second Secretary of the British Admiralty. While Alaska was a colony of Russia from 1741 to 1867, there was never a huge Russian presence in Barrow, and mostly Europeans would use the area for hunting whales for their oil used to power oil lamps. After Russia were defeated in the Crimean War, Alexander II of Russia was so concerned that British Canadians would try taking Alaska that before they could do that, he sold Alaska to the United States in 1867 for $7.2 million, which is equivalent to $130 million today, a decision that Russia has been regretting ever since. The town became a strategic location during the outbreak of World War II, being used as a base for the US Army Air Corps, as well as being a site for some early warning radars during the Cold War. After Alaska became a state in 1959, the North Slope Borough was established in 1972, and today oil is the primary source of income for the area. The average income in North Slope is $60,000 a year, which is a lot considering the rest of the US has an average income of $38,000 a year. However, being so remote, the cost of living here in Barrow is extremely high. We took a look in this grocery store just to see how expensive regular household items are. $8 for almost 2 liters of milk, $5 for a dozen eggs, and $11 for a bag of Doritos. However, I do have to say I was surprised with just how much stuff they do have available, with exotic fruits like mangoes and pineapples ripe and ready. Another thing to overcome when living here is the fact you are not the top of the food chain. While the lower 48 states of the US are home to around 1,500 grizzly bears, Alaska alone has 30,000, and grizzlies aren't even the deadliest kind of bear here, as polar bears frequently roam Barrow looking for food when the ice of the Arctic connects to the mainland in the winter months. Roughly 5 people a decade are killed by polar bears here in Alaska, and polar bears are one of the only animals on Earth who will actively hunt humans as a source of food. But humans being humans, we hunt them back. That is a polar bear skin. Not something you would see every day. Interestingly, it is illegal to hunt polar bears like this in Alaska, except if you are an Alaskan native. We were in Barrow for only a day, however you get this feeling that the whole town revolves around the operation of the airport. A smaller GA aircraft fly out to even more remote communities, and we saw this helicopter carrying something into the airport. We couldn't really see what it was carrying, but it was pretty cool to see. But slowly people start to gather around the airport building as our flight back to Anchorage was inbound. The airport here is comedically small with a pretty useless flight information board. And here's our ride, November 523 Alpha Sierra, another Alaska Airlines Boeing 737-800, delivered to Alaska in 2009. After boarding, I found my seat, and today we'll be departing on runway 26. After takeoff, we climbed through the clouds as we settled down for our cruise back down to civilization. Evening at Anchorage is the busiest period as you have all the US airlines departing out to their respective destinations, and unfortunately for me, I would be flying American Airlines. United and Delta both have all year-round service with multiple gates, allowing their aircraft to be here all at the same time. American, on the other hand, only fly here during the summer and have one gate, meaning their flights depart back-to-back out to Dallas and then my destination, Chicago. This is fine until the Dallas-bound A321neo was an hour and a half late departing, meaning my Chicago-bound 737 MAX 8 had to wait all that time before finally parking at the gate. But as frustrating as that is, it gave me time to reflect on what an amazing trip this has been. Over the last few days, I have fallen in love with this state. Alaska is known as the final frontier, and is probably one of the least spoiled states in America. While the US is home to some beautiful sights, Alaska feels so remote and so untouched that it just doesn't compare with anywhere else I've been. I definitely want to come back here and explore even more of this beautiful state. But with that, I want to thank you very much for watching today's video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.